Now, isn't that just beautiful?
Good morning. So, I wanted to tell a bit of a story today about two things that I learned in my life. The first is that when people told me growing up that I should be myself, they were really talking about what they wanted for themselves, not what they wanted for me. They knew that it was a good thing to act like who you really were, but they were telling me that because it's what they wanted for themselves. Because when I was finally brave enough to start acting like myself, a lot of people, the same people who would tell you, just be yourself, fuck what the world thinks, shine on you crazy diamond, they really didn't like me. Some of them hated me. The same people who would say, you should do whatever you want to do as long as it doesn't hurt anybody, would then turn around as I started doing anything that felt special and unique to me and explain why I probably shouldn't be doing it and why it might be harmful. Or they'd take issue with my attitude, or they'd say I was inconsiderate, self-centered, all that kind of stuff. Couldn't you be doing something better with your time? They didn't like me when I acted like myself. And that was a bit of a striking realization for me. Because I thought if I was more honest, more true to how I felt, and did what I said I would do, people would like me more, not less. Now, ultimately they did. But I'll explain that more after I talk about the second thing that was on my mind. Which was that one of the biggest steps I had to make in my life was learning how to let people hate me, how to let people dislike me and the stuff I did in a way that didn't destroy me. Because that was very hard for me. My first serious depression was brought on just because I felt like I couldn't get people to like me. And I couldn't stop the people who disliked me from disliking me a lot. But what I learned when people hate me or people dislike me is that the answer isn't to stop caring what people think. People like to say that. They like to say, don't care what people think. Usually the same people who tell you to be yourself. But the truth of the matter is that you should care what people think. People make up every part of your world that you don't. And I realized that, at least for me, I was always going to care about what people thought. But that also led me to discover that I could decide whether what somebody was saying was something I could take to heart or should take to heart. I still wanted to care about what people thought. I didn't have a choice, if truth be known. But I learned that sometimes you don't have to care about certain opinions. You don't have to care about certain things you hear. And there's a way to tell if you should or shouldn't care what people think. And for me, the answer was this. It was that every time I was doing something that I decided was really important to me, every time that I was being myself in a way that felt authentic, that's the only time I would feel comfortable disregarding what people thought. And what I mean by that is if people catch you acting shitty or doing things you shouldn't and call you out on it or even hate you for it, you should probably thank them. But if you're doing something that you've decided is good, that you've decided is one small puzzle piece of the enormous jigsaw that will be your life, then you should feel comfortable hearing what people have to say about it and then deciding that you're not going to listen to what they have to say. It doesn't mean hate them back, but it also means don't hate yourself because of them. You've decided to be yourself. And now that you have the courage to do that, figure out what parts of you are good, what parts of you aren't so good. And then when people criticize the parts of you that are good, it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt me now. When people criticize the type of music that I love to listen to, the type of videos I like to make, how much time I spend with my girlfriend, how much I care about certain parts of my career. People might criticize you for being who you want to be, but as long as you're confident in the decision you've made, you can choose to ignore them and have peace in your heart. They just don't get you, and it's okay that people don't get you. Anyway, that's all that was on my mind today. Let me know what you think. Maybe tell me about a time in your life that you've had to decide to be yourself, that you've had to decide to tell the truth and stood up for it. And tell me how you dealt with that. You know, what I'm saying here, a lot of it applied to me. A lot of it was what I figured out. But maybe you felt something different. Or maybe you disagree. Maybe you don't think I've said anything here. Maybe you just think all this motherfucker said was be yourself and don't care what people think. Maybe you're right. I don't think so, but maybe. Anyway, that's all. Have a good day.